Every time I hear stories from members about people that are struggling in this country, it strikes me that those on the left just use these stories as an excuse to say we should have more government. Well, more government isn't going to help people who are struggling. Because why are people struggling? It's because the cost of living is being driven up by high taxes, and it's being driven up by inflation, by the fact that the government is financing their out-of-control spending by reducing the value of money that people have. And this is most evident in the case of gas prices. Now, let's be very clear and honest about why we have gas prices where they are. Gas prices are where they are because of a policy decision by left-wing parties, Liberal and NDP, who believe that the gas price should be high because they want to use high gas prices as a tool to discourage people from driving. The only reason to support a carbon tax, carbon price, whatever you call it, is to discourage people from buying gas by making the costs higher. Now, of course, the price of gas fluctuates in response to other events because absent the tax, there is an underlying price that goes up and down. But there is a significant amount of that price that is determined by the taxation that sits on top of whatever price the private entity would charge. So of course there's fluctuations, and of course those fluctuations are shaped by global events. But on top of those fluctuations, we have policy choices made by politicians who believe that the gas price should be higher. And what strikes me is that almost nobody in this House is actually prepared to honestly acknowledge that. I hope that someone here, Liberal, NDP, Green, is willing to say what they honestly, clearly believe, which is they want gas prices to be high. That is the point of a carbon tax. It's to make gas prices high. And yet somehow they think they can fool people by saying we've put these taxes on gasoline, but really we would like prices to be lower, and let's blame something else for that fact. But their solution is we're going to have higher and higher taxes, but then we're going to create more programs to allegedly treat the affordability problem. And to me, this is like you're in a hole and you just keep digging. Because the more spending, the more programs they promise, the more government intervention, the more expansion there is of the state sector, the more that money's going to have to come from somewhere. The more we're going to see deficit, inflation, higher prices, higher taxes. And that in turn is going to make life less affordable. So we're in this vicious cycle that's going to accelerate now as a result of this union between the Liberals and the NDP. As we're going to see more spending. This is the promise of this deal that these parties have made.